The I Mold You So podcast with Katie Buckland Weiss.
And welcome to this week's episode of I Mold You So, the podcast where we uncover the hidden truths behind mold, chronic illness, and in the environments we live in. Today, we're talking about something that almost no one connects to mold recovery. It's pretty fascinating. Electromagnetic fields, or EMFs. If you've done everything right, detoxing, remediating, taking supplements, and you still feel stuck, inflamed, or sensitive, your nervous system may be under constant invisible stress from the technology around you. I can speak to that. My guest today is Lorelei Schaefer, a certified EMF specialist who helps people identify harmful EMF exposures in their homes, bodies, and teaches practical ways to reduce their load so healing can actually happen.
Hello.
We're going to Hello. So together, we're going to explore where EMFs come from, how they impact mold toxicity, and what you can do right now to protect yourself, even if you can't move or fully remediate yet. And what's so great about this is Lorelei and I met through a mutual friend who is based out of West Texas. And I was actually using therapy that Aaron offers called Hocket. And this was when I was at the height of my mold illness. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't walk straight. Nothing was making sense. And Aaron followed my journey and saw me as I started to heal, and then we stayed in touch. And as the podcast has evolved and grown, actually reached out and was like, Katie, you have got to visit with Lorelei. She is doing great work in EMF and helping folks along the way. And there's a strong correlation between mold and EMF. So again, Lorelei is a certified EMF specialist who works with people suffering from chronic illness, mold toxicity, and nervous system deregulation to identify these harmful EMF exposures in our home and reduce the body's total toxin burden. Huge emphasis on the EMF piece of it. So Lorelei, I'd love for you just to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your consulting business, and then we'll get into the details. But I'm so excited to have you join. And when we were talking and preparing for the episode today, my mind was absolutely blown when you were sharing where some of these, EMFs are coming from. Because while I was working to detox, I was probably going backwards. And so I can't wait to talk about, these things that we can implement right now. But love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. And then also, please kick things off with sharing about if you have a petri dish with mold next to an EMF and one not next to an EMF, what we see.
Yes. So Katie, thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to be here and share a little bit on how I got involved in what I'm doing today. So 4 years ago, I was slowly dying in my bed with Lyme disease. I was diagnosed in 2008, and it was to the point where I have to do something. My kids had to go live with my parents in Montana, and I was going to do whatever it took during that school year to get myself out of the bed where I could live so I could take care of my children. So I was at the time doing things backwards. I was killing parasites, and somebody told me, hey, you need to reach out to Erin. She has this amazing machine called the Hocket, and it can help you. And I was willing to do anything. I was about to go to Lyme, Mexico. So I went and scheduled an appointment with Erin, and one of the first things she told me was, Lorelei, EMFs are really affecting you, and you need to remediate them. And I'm like, what? What is that?
Right.
And so... Right. So I started doing the Hocket, and she told me I didn't really do anything about the EMFs, things that we need to take action on for some reason, procrastinate the things I really need to do. And so about 7 months in, I've decided to go to a biofeedback specialist. And the first thing that came up on my biofeedback was EMFs. So what are EMFs? EMFs are electromagnetic frequencies. It's our cell phone. It's our computers. It's our laptops. It's our tablets. It's your Apple Watch, which we can get into that later. I do not wear those. It's AirPods. It's earpods. I love that you're wearing wireless headphones, because I tell people when I'm doing consults, if you're going to wear headphones, wear the wired ones, because those are EMFs.
I look for the other, like at the gym. I know other people get it if they're wearing the wired headphones.
I do too. I notice people too, or athletes that the media, puts out in the public, and you see them with it. I'm like, okay, that athlete gets it. It's important.
Right.
And so after she told me that, I realized, okay, I have to get my home remediated. I have to do something. I now had 2 practitioners tell me EMFs are causing you sickness. And so I had my home remediated, and I started wearing this band right here.
Okay, so that is not an iWatch for our
This is
listeners.
not an
That is not an iWatch.
A
We're
lot
going to
of
get
people
into
think
this.
it is. It's not. It's a band, and I do not leave my home without this band because I know what I'll feel like when I leave my home without this band. I will not feel good. So
Okay.
I had the remediation done. I went back for my next biofeedback session. And at the end, she didn't mention EMFs. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. It's working. And so then over time, I started noticing how if I would leave my home and not have my band, or at the time I didn't have a car harmonizer, which remediated the EMFs in my car, I would leave my home. I would leave, I would feel really good, and then I would start just getting super fatigued. Like, I have to go home and take a nap. Well, my home was remediated. So when I would go back home, I'd wake back up. Same thing would happen to my kids. And we're like, this is crazy. I've really calmed the EMF chaos in my home from doing this. So my home was balanced out. And so therefore I'd wake back up. I'd feel good again. And I'm like, okay, there's something to this, right? So then I got more consistent with wearing my band to the point I literally, if I accidentally, I haven't done it in a while, but if I happen to leave it, I turn around and go back and get it because I know how good it makes.
It makes that much of a difference. Is significance. Wow.
Yes. So I kept going, doing the Hocket, doing colonics, biocharger,
All these detox therapies.
Right. Doing all the detoxing. And once I got well enough, my kids are actually able to come back. They were only there for the 1 school year. So my kids came back from Montana and, the home, everything's done. And so then my kids started noticing difference and changes in them. My son does not go anywhere without his band. He's great about wearing it. And so I decided, you know what? The tipping point in my healing journey, yes, the Hocket's amazing, but the tipping point in my journey was when I remediated and fixed the EMS. I get chills and emotional talking about it because I was so sick, y'all. And, Lyme goes hand in hand with mold.
Right.
And
there's a strong crossover, a lot of the same community.
Same symptoms, goes hand in hand. EMFs open up your blood-brain barrier. And people like me and you who have chronic, we've had chronic illness dealing with mold, Lyme, those electromagnetic frequencies with the Lyme and the mold just raging throughout our bodies. EMFs just, when they hit us, it just totally knocks us out. And we start experiencing, whether you don't have Lyme or you don't have mold and you don't have chronic illness, no matter what, the EMF is still affecting you. You might get headaches because what happens and what I learned in school. So I went to school to learn because I'm like, I want to go out and help people. And what I tell people today is one of the first steps in healing is you have to fix the EMFs, because what the EMF is doing is it indirectly opens a voltage-gated calcium channel within our cells. And it's pushing an influx of calcium into our cells, which causes our cells to be off balance. And so what you will see if you were to go get your blood taken, and let's say you had not remediated your phone, you had remediated your home, you go get your blood taken and you can see your blood it looks like it's just really messy, blotchy, clumpy together. But then when you go and you remediate like your phone with chips, or you wear the band and you go and take your blood, it looks your cells balance out, your blood looks like normal again.
Okay.
And
And
so
it seems like your body is calming, right?
yes, that's why I named my business Calming the Chaos. So,
Okay.
you see EMFs are the power grid, right? The power grid, your electrical lines outside, your smart meters. The smart meters are not
On the homes, right? On the side of the building.
right.
Even maybe your children are sleeping next to it.
Yes, it could be your air purifier. I learned in school fans are one of the worst for EMFs.
Yes, you shared that with me. And as you know, we have moved those out of the house. And it did serve a purpose initially as we were trying to clean the air and everything, but now we're in great shape and we didn't need those fans running in the EMF.
So could you imagine if you had mold in your home and you run fans, you run air purifiers, you have if you have a baby noisemakers, because the machines, whether it's a spinning fan with blades or it's a like the fans in the air purifiers or fans in the noisemaker, what happens is it's polarization chaos. It's hard to control. So when I go to remediate those type of fans in general,
You look in the house and you're like, problematic.
We put 3 device clips now on those types of devices because it's so much chaotic chaos just spinning everywhere.
Okay, and we'll talk about the clips along with your watch and ways that we remediate. So interesting. So talk to me just a little bit about, so people really understand what, like, apples to apples, Petri dish and Petri dish. Walk me through that.
Okay. So if you were to put a Petri dish with nothing in it and set it next to your Wi-Fi, and then you were to put a Petri dish with mold in it, and you're wanting to test to see what happens in the growth to what happens with Wi-Fi next to spores in a Petri dish, it just explodes. So
Literally, the mold, you'll just see it.
It'll just, yeah. So I challenge somebody, go put some spores in a Petri dish, set it next to your Wi-Fi without a chip on it, without it being your Wi-Fi being remediated, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. Think about all of the factors that ultimately led my just mycotoxin level to, just go. And I ended up very, very ill. And I was living and working, because I home office, in an environment in a new build home that had hidden mold throughout the house due to a water leak. And in my office, we had the Wi-Fi box like right next to me. And I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I had a little space heater too. And so I'm just like running. I'm like in this little encapsulated EMF, nightmare, really. And I had these mycotoxins in the mold. So it was just such a dangerous environment for me to be in. So it's just so wild.
What's cool about what happens though is, so let's say you take that mold Petri dish, right? And you put it next to your Wi-Fi, it starts growing. Then you take what I use to remediate the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And when we put the chips on our Wi-Fi, it's like there's no Wi-Fi in the room.
You put it's a physical chip or a clip of some sort.
A clip, yes.
Okay.
And we tape it on the back of the power cord closest to the Wi-Fi as I can get it. And now I'm using 3 chips on the Wi-Fi just so it's stronger. Because I always tell people, and the Wi-Fi is constantly changing too, as people need to know. But if you aren't able, let's say you don't have the ability to remediate EMFs, what I tell people is to make sure the Wi-Fi is far away from your sleeping environment as possible, because your sleep environment is the most important. It's so important to have your sleep environment. You really want no plugs, no EMF.
So power it down ideally. So for example, we're hardwired now here.
Okay.
But before we were Wi-Fi, and the unit, kind of the hub, was in the closet next to my husband's side of the bed. And he was already in the know with this stuff, and he would power it down every night until we got it hardwired. So he's like, I'm not sleeping with that next to my head.
Yes, that's what I tell people. If you don't have the means to do any remediation, turn the Wi-Fi off when you're not using it, and especially at night when you're sleeping. Same goes for your cell phones. If your cell phones aren't I actually have 2. I have 2 chips on mine, but people they use one. One's great. One fixes.
But you're not playing around.
I go overboard. Put your phone on airplane mode when you sleep at night. And then that shuts it down too. But make sure because sometimes when you swipe down, or depending on what kind of phone you have, the Wi-Fi might say on the phone. So just make sure the Wi-Fi is turned off too. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, everything's powered off, and airplane mode's just fine. You don't want to be sleeping next to anything next to your brain at night.
So there's the Wi-Fi piece, with your modem, fans, and you said even ceiling fans, correct? Okay. What else is emitting these EMFs?
Your television.
Is it Bluetooth as well, or okay?
Yes. So for example, in the car, I try to stay away from Bluetooth, because Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are emitting the same frequency. So for phones, top computers, and our Wi-Fi, it's microwave energy. Microwaves we shouldn't even have in our homes, right?
Right.
And so if you
we don't use ours, it's
I tell people, well, are you going to get inside a microwave? No, but we're putting one right next to our brain, and then we wonder why we have a headache.
Right.
So something else I tell people to do if their phone's not, I talk on speakerphone still to this day. I always talk on speakerphone. The more you can separate yourself from the frequency, the better. Because our
Yeah,
phones,
we
these
have
are these pick
Safe
up like a black
Sleeve
box. Yeah.
to block that. It's not great, but so we will do speakerphone.
And so what I learned, Aaron and I actually, we went to a quantum nutrition conference back in October, and they're talking
Okay.
about it there. They're talking about it. EMFs open up your blood-brain barriers, and for mold and Lyme, the EMFs just causes in your body, just explodes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like a testament to that, given the environment that I was in. And it got so out of control that when we were still living in that environment before we even knew I was sick with mold, because I found out in late August kind of what was going on, and they were confirming the mold. But in July of that year, we had them come in and hardwire the Wi-Fi and stuff because my husband, again, was already kind of on this path, and he was just like, these EMFs are trouble, and this Wi-Fi just like zinging around. And it actually did provide a bit of relief. I was still in the mold environment, and if I was at on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at an 11 with pain and symptoms. It did drop to like an 8 maybe when we, made those. Those are big changes.
Right.
And made those. Okay, so tell me just anything else we might be aware of in our homes right now, quick things we could do to remediate.
What I recommend people do is move everything for your bedroom, like I said, is the most important, right? Your sleep environment, your children's sleep environment. So make sure all the plugs, if you have any power strip cords that you charge your phone next to your bed, remove those from the area. I
What
mean,
about lamps?
lamps, turn them off at night, especially if
Unplug them or just turn them off?
I would unplug them.
Okay,
If you wanna do
okay.
the best, right? You can turn them off or you can unplug because if you think about it, there's still electrical current going through to the cord, right? I don't know if anyone's ever experienced this, but people I've talked to that have mold or Lyme or another chronic illness, they say they might have ringing in the ears or they
Sure.
hear little buzzing noises. That's your EMFs. I could be in a hotel where it's not remediated and I'm laying there like, okay, what's the buzzing noises? So I take things with
Goodness.
me there. So
You
I
have your
always
travel
have my little travel
remediation.
bag, right?
Okay, so
Airports are the worst too for it. Don't ever, especially if you have mold or those the Lidos X-ray machines that they want you to walk into and stand up. Please opt out. Please opt out of those. Those are 200 times more radiation than our actual cell phones.
something else, this might be kind of a sidebar, but I have been told several times to notice, people carry their cell phones in their front pockets for men close to their, you know,
Yep,
testicles. Like, what does that, do to that? And we have, these teen girls carrying their phones on them,
I know.
and, what we might see in the years down the road, the impact that has.
Mhm.
But those X-rays at the airport, absolutely. So you'll still go, and we do this. We'll still go through the general like metal detectors, opt out for the Lidos,
I
as you mentioned.
opt out of everything, and we request the pat down, and they might make you
Okay,
wait, but it's totally worth it. I wouldn't go through any of it because you're getting
okay,
so hit hard at the airports with
okay.
all the blue
Well,
light.
and then in the plane too, right?
Oh yeah, planes are the worst too. So that's why I take something with me on the planes just to give me extra protection.
Okay. So we talked about some of the biggest EMF sources, in the home, and then you mentioned airports, the car,
Your
things like
schools are
Bluetooth.
the absolute worst. So if your listeners will look up, he's a microwave expert specialist out of Great Britain,
Okay.
talks about how people should be gelled for putting Wi-Fi and Bluetooth in our children's schools because our children, females in general, are only born with 400,000 eggs. We don't make more eggs. And so when these children are sitting in these schools all day with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, they're sitting in radiation. They're being fried. And he says that people ought to be gelled for putting Wi-Fi in schools because our children won't be having children one day.
That constant exposure. Wow. Okay. There's a lot to unpack in this.
Yeah.
Can you
It's
speak?
like an invisible bioweapon. You know, they could be using, why aren't they using scalar waves or rife on us? They didn't have to build our computers with microwave frequencies. They could have chosen to use something else.
Right.
There's a
Right.
reason for it.
If you are using a microwave, don't let your kids stand right in front of it and watch their pizza cooking. Like, get them away from it, you know?
Even our pets are suffering from this.
Yeah, I mean, side note, when I was so sick with mold, we had this pup. We just loved her so much. And when I started to get sick in November, by December, I knew I wasn't going to be able to go back to work, had to go on long-term disability, and all my symptoms were just raging.
Mm.
Our dog started to get really, really sick and she died. And I'm like, she is at home all the time with me. She's breathing in the mold, all the spores, everything, same exposure. So I really believe that just like I was impacted, my husband was impacted, my little boy was impacted, our dog was impacted too.
I challenge everyone to, if you're like going back to your sleep environment being the most important. If you have to remove everything out of your room that's an EMF, your cords, your power strips, your TV, moving your phone, I challenge you just to do it. Do it for a night. Do it for a
See how
week.
you sleep,
See how you-
right? Are there symptoms that are common symptoms for people that are struggling with EMFs? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
what do those symptoms look like?
Yes. So going back to what the EMF is indirectly doing to our cells, right?
Okay.
So when we're not remediated or not ringing the band, you're just walking around normal, right? And the EMFs are pushing that influx of calcium into our cells, so we get off balance. That's when the bioeffects set in, the changes in our bodies. So you might experience headaches, migraines, sleep issues, hormonal issues, chronic fatigue. I mean, for me, I know when I'm being bothered by an EMF, I start getting significantly drained, where I know I got good sleep the night before. I've taken all my supplements because I do a lot of things so I can get myself through the day.
Right. To support.
Right. So a good example of, I know when I'm getting hit by an EMF, even when I am wearing my band and I'm out in public, it's usually at recently, it just happened to me over the weekend. It was at a basketball gym. There's, the basketball gym, they have all the people are in there with all their cell phones out. And halfway through the day, when I start getting that heavy, like I need to go home and it actually happened to me this weekend. It just starts, you
Wow.
start feeling super fatigued, like you have to go home and take a nap. That's how
Yeah,
I
like you can't keep your eyeballs open.
keep you're right. But then I come home and I wake back up again. It happens every time.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that. What people can do right now, right? Some simple things, but then also working with you. What
Mhm.
does that look like? What are these clips you're talking about? And really remediating a home, but also what we can do when we're out in the real world, when we're not in our little cocoon here at home. Talk us through that.
Yeah. So what I do for people is I offer. I want to help, right? That's why I started, because this made such a significant difference in my healing journey, y'all. I mean, I went
Awesome.
from dying in my bed, I need to do whatever it takes, to then
Sending your kids to your parents. I
yes.
mean,
I was on my deathbed, y'all.
desperate. Absolutely.
God heal my body, like whatever it takes, right? And so I tell people now, and I stand by this, like if you truly want healing, you have to fix the EMF, because the EMFs are going to be there no matter what. They're automatically giving you DNA damage no matter what. So what I do for people is I give complimentary consultations, just so I can share with people homes, and I just show them what are the EMFs in their homes. I walk around, I show them their meters outside. That needs to be fixed, because once you fix that meter, you're taking care of all the EMFs that are coming in from outside of your home, which is your power grid. It is your neighbor's Wi-Fi's. It's your neighbor's solar panels. Solar panels are the absolute worst. That's like a microwave sitting on top of your brain in your home. So when people have,
My word, this is making so much sense. When, again, I started to get sick and we went and stayed at a home that had solar panels all over it. And I thought, I have to go to the emergency room. This is unbearable. And now it makes absolute sense. Wow. Okay. So the smart meter on the outside of the house,
Mhm.
and because I'm sure our listeners are curious, like, I'm on a budget, let's say, and this overhaul, 50 grand, or like, do I have to replace the smart meter? Talk to me a little bit about that.
So smart meters, if you have a smart meter or a meter in general, what we do is we put something on it called a home harmonizer. And so that harmonizes your environment and it protects from the satellites outside, the power grid, your neighbor's solar panels, and that's $524. So,
Okay, that's not insane. Not
right,
insane.
right.
Okay.
And
Right. Because
that,
oftentimes people hear mold, Lyme, all this. People can get overwhelmed with like what that would do to
and
their
I tell people,
budget.
if you're in the beginning, you have no money, you don't have money to go spend on more things. Cause I trust me, I understand how expensive it is to heal bodies of Lyme, to heal bodies of mold, to heal chronic
Right. When you
illness.
are
I
sick
get
and
it.
you are
I
desperate
get it.
and you will spend, you will try
Right.
anything. And then when you figure it out, you have to spend more.
Right. At this band right here is $69. I
Okay.
tell
This
people
is
start with the band. If you can't
doable.
afford
Okay.
anything, at least start with the band because you can wear it other than taking a bath and shower. You don't want to get it wet.
Right.
Start,
That's a nice dinner out, right?
yep.
Less than a nice dinner out. And does it last for 3 months, 6 months? How
I've
often do you
had
have to
this
replace
band
it?
since I bought it.
Okay.
So
Okay. So it's a one and
several
done.
years, yeah, several years. That's what's really cool about the products I use is I use these products because they're proven to get results at the cellular level. They work at the cellular level, and I'm all about healthy cells, healthy life. We can get our cells healthy, we're gonna have a pretty good life. So everything I do is focused on cellular health.
Okay. So we have the smart meter.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the home. That's kind of where you start.
Yes.
Keep walking us through it.
Okay. So I look at your fans. I recommend that we put the little device chips on your fans.
We stick it on there. We clip it on there. We tape it on there.
So
What is that?
for ceiling fans, we tape it on the top. If it's a plug-in fan, then I remediate where the power cord is, close to the back of the device where the power, here's like let's say this is a heater fan, right? Because I like
Okay.
a heater fan in my bathroom. I don't like being cold. So here's the power cord, here's the device. I put device clips on the power cord as close to the object as possible. So
Okay.
it fixes the fan. Your TVs, your Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is the most important, right?
Yeah. And
We
you
gotta
said you
fix
might
the Wi-Fi.
double stack there.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is so important. TVs, Wi-Fi, anything that's emitting Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, we need to fix that. Those are the most important things
Those
to fix.
speakers we have in our homes, the Bluetooth speakers, all of those things.
I even tell people, I tell people to stop buying anything that's for grounding. Like if it has a plug, like if there's a
Okay, that's a great point.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would just want to stop and dive in here a little bit. On my healing journey, grounding has been a part of it. Just
Yes.
getting outside, right? Feet on the
Yes.
ground. But I purchased a grounding mat. Unfortunately, I was so sick that I didn't get any relief from it. I mean, I wasn't getting relief from anything, morphine, none of it. I was so far gone.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like that grounding mat, you still have to plug it in, and it's a unique plug. Ours was, at least, maybe a superpower plug. I don't know.
I tell people don't use them.
Okay,
I mean, we can
get outside and put your feet on the ground.
exactly. I mean, we can fix it, but why would you want that? Why would you want to be sleeping underneath that?
Okay,
Even if we
great
can't,
point.
do you know what I mean? It's not worth
Yeah,
it.
because when you were talking about things in the bedroom, the phone charger, and I was thinking, we did those grounding mats. Okay,
I had something I thought of. I had a lady who had severe mold. Just recently, she reached out to me. We did a phone consult. So if I can't come to your home, I'm happy to jump on the phone and talk to you as well. So we did a phone consult, and she ordered some product from me, and she went to a formal, and she didn't want to. So she started wearing her band, right?
okay,
She went to a formal during the holidays for church, and she goes, Lorelei, I could feel it. I didn't wear my band because I got fancy and dressed up and I didn't wear the band. And she goes, I felt a huge difference. And she goes, I should have wore that band. And I said, I know. I go, next time you do that, take the band off and slide it in your bra.
okay. So you still have it, the
So
protection.
you still have
Okay.
it. But she's somebody who I'm getting results from right now that has mold.
Okay, I love those testimonials. I mean, it's so important to hear from other people that are suffering these things that have helped them, that they're now experiencing benefits from.
Mhm.
I know when we wrap here, I need to order one of those bands
Okay.
and I'll report back. Um, Okay, so we talked about all this stuff. Okay, baby monitors.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Okay, so not just the fans, because we use those noise.
I know. I feel so sad for babies today because they're getting, first off, way too many ultrasounds. If you get one ultrasound and your baby looks good, don't do another one, you know? But baby monitors, what else are they putting? I saw the other day somebody sent me, it's to test their, I guess it's to prevent SIDS, or I don't even know if you say that, but it's something that clips on the baby that regulates them while they're sleeping during the at night to make sure they're sleeping peacefully. And I guess it
Okay.
hurts the parent if something were to go wrong.
Okay,
And I'm like, no, don't put that on your baby.
because it's emitting.
EMFs.
There's Bluetooth
Right,
and Wi-Fi going back and
your
forth, I
baby's
imagine.
brain is not developed. No, it's not good. It's not good at
Wow.
all.
Okay, so what else when we're going through the house?
Mm-hmm.
Placing these clips, like if you have a microwave, your recommendation is don't use it. But again, for busy moms and dads that might not have the luxury of, cooking on the stove or whatever it may be, can you clip one on the microwave or no?
We
Okay,
don't
just
do anything
don't
with
use the microwave.
Yeah. We
Okay,
don't.
note taken. Got it.
Yeah. Just okay, microwave. What's really cool about the home harmonizer being on the meter is that's taking care of, all the electricity that's coming to the home, right? And so once you fix that meter, it helps so much in the home. So that's why, I usually don't do anything for like refrigerators or stoves or your big appliances.
Covered by that.
Yeah, it helps. And do for like a refrigerator is we could put something called a better Z's, and it goes, what we use them for is to go underneath our mattresses to help our sleep environment.
Okay, tell me more.
And so what I'll do, what I learned recently from my trainer is put it in the refrigerator to help with your food because your food is getting EMFs in the refrigerator.
My word.
Huh?
So, and then are we ingesting those EMFs or just the food, the quality, the nutrients,
quality
their
of food.
cellular makeup is being
Yeah.
impacted? So the healthy apple is not quite as healthy as it once was. Okay, but the better Z's.
I learned about that probably 3 weeks ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never even thought about that.
Yeah,
It's just like it was
that
like a
motor
little
running.
bitty baby pillow.
Okay,
And
but you can put that underneath your mattress, you
yes,
said.
that's what they're
So that's
for.
another way that you can remediate your
Yes.
home.
And so like when I go, that Better Z's is a great item to have because it's
Okay.
multi-purpose use. You can use it, you want it to go underneath your bed, your mattress. You can use it in the refrigerator. You can also use it in your car too to give you more. We have something called a car harmonizer that.
Okay, that was my next question. We talked about the home. What do we do in our cars? We spend a lot of people spend a lot of time in their cars.
Yes. I tell people if they have a electric car, get rid of it, especially if you have mold or Lyme disease or chronic illness, because
I have heard, and from physicians as well, that it's like driving in a microwave,
Mhm.
fully loaded with EMFs. Okay.
Yes. And I have a friend who told me, well, I can't figure out why every time I get in my car, my kids and I feel sick. I'm like, I know why. It's
Yeah,
EMFs.
return that.
Driving an electromagnetic
Yikes.
frequency car. But what for those, those are harder to remediate, but what we recommend if they happen, like in my car, I do not have a electrical car. I have a gas car. But what I do
Okay.
in mine is I put it's called a car harmonizer. And
Okay.
like the old school, it reminds me of like, the old school cigarette lighters in cars, the way
Yes.
the plug-in, it's like a plug-in like that. And so it just plugs right in. But if you don't have one of those, then the Better Z's, you can use that
Can do it.
Yep.
Okay, so simple ways to do this: the home harmonizer, the Better Z's, the band, the car harmonizer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's lots of things, and it sounds like not outrageous from a
No.
price point when you are looking to recover and protect longevity, health, wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that are suffering from mold and Lyme, like you and I, this is a small investment.
Right. And what's cool too is I've been using these products for several years now. I'm not going and buying a new home harmonizer for my box outside.
Yeah,
It's the same
so-
one. Still working.
And you are in better health.
Yes.
Your health is
Something I want to tie back to it. So like, let's say somebody just goes and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to go and buy all these EMF products. And you just go on the internet and you see, oh, this is a good product. This seems like it works. this is what I've noted, or this is what, and I've talked to my trainer about it because I'll ask her, oh, have you heard about this product? I believe it's like Aries or AIRES. I might be totally wrong on the product. I'll ask her about different ones people will bring to me to ask me about, and I'll be like, hey, have you heard of this? And so what we're noticing is that product will test really well when you get it in the beginning, but then months later, the product, it fails.
The efficacy, okay, goes down. Okay.
So that's really important to know. Is if
So
you,
the ones that you've been using for years, you haven't had to replace.
no.
Okay.
And I love it because it goes back to fixing it. It's the root cause, right? We want to fix the root cause at the cellular level, and this takes care of it. Something else too, I want to plug in with about the Better Z's, just because it's such
Yes,
a little
please
product,
share.
is at airports. I put the Better Z's like in my pants.
Okay.
Going through the airport. Airports are horrible, right? So I'll carry it on me. But then when I get to my seat on the plane, you can remediate your entire row by putting that Better Z's in between your seats where the metal's touching. You can just stick that Better Z's right in there, and then it remediates your entire row.
Wow. Okay. I mean, so you can really try to be in this bubble, if you will, even when you're out.
And I think too, the more, like when I started this, it took me months to even plug in my car harmonizer. Okay. I don't know why. Why did I
You were
wait?
just like reluctant. You just weren't.
I don't know
just
why
like,
I didn't do it. But what I've noticed that when you're consistent, like with wearing the band, that's what really turned me around. When I was consistent with wearing the band, that's when I really saw how great I was feeling and the difference in my body.
wow.
So
Okay.
then that made me more prone to traveling with my product, right?
Right.
Making sure
If
I
it's
take
making
it
you
on
feel
there
good, do
because
more
it
of
makes me
it.
feel good, and I don't want to go back. Like I don't ever want to go back to those days again.
PTSD.
Yeah, major.
I understand. Bedridden.
Yeah.
Praise God. Like, look at us,
I know. Thank you, Jesus.
But that's why I'm sharing this. And
He
this,
will heal
I
us
want you to
if
share
we're
your
willing to
story.
take the length. If we do our part, he'll do his part. Because I'm
Yeah.
living proof, you're living proof.
Well, and I know that there are people out there that are in their beds right now, or like I was on my floor, just hopeless and not getting any answers. And then I put the puzzle together. You put the puzzle together, and we are living better lives now and feeling better. Why would we not share that?
Mm-hmm. And even my
Okay.
son, I get people telling me, I want to plug this in real quick too.
Absolutely.
Comes to kids, because I've met parents who are like, oh, I don't know if I can get my kid to wear the band. Well, I look at it, it's life or death, right? Because I know the EMFs are causing DNA damage no matter what, whether you wear the band or not. Like if you don't wear the band, you're getting DNA damage, whether you're feeling sick or not, right? You're still getting the damage to ourselves. And my son, he is 15 years old, and he's heard, when I was in school, all the videos that I would have to listen to.
Sure.
He wants to have children one day, and he understands that EMFs are frying sperm, frying eggs. And so my kid, and he has a mold. I learned in October he's dealing with mold as well. And so when he makes sure he is consistent with wearing his band, I don't even have to tell him anymore, because he knows the difference, what happens when he wears it and he doesn't.
How he feels, right? Yeah. I have to admit, I feel some guilt because in our home that had mold, again, new build, both of our kids were on the side of the house, and our little boy's head was right next to the smart meter. Now, I don't remember what the tool is, but my husband had some type of tool that could measure EMFs.
Yes.
And he was holding it up by our son's headboard, and he's like, this is like really high. So he got some type of a blanket,
Yeah.
and we pinned it on the wall. And when the blanket was up and he held the meter, it was much less.
Yes.
But that was after a couple of years of sleeping in that room with his head right there. And I'm thinking, how could I have done this? Now I give myself grace. I didn't know any better, but it absolutely affected. He had trouble with the mold. The mold was really over a lot of his room. And then we added the EMFs. So it makes sense why he had some significant symptoms with mold when our daughter didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the EMFs I go back to just want to drive this very clear is EMFs open up your blood-brain barrier.
Yeah. Okay. So
Mhm.
if someone wants to get in touch with you, Lorelei, they want your consulting services, they want access to these products, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna y'all can call or text me. My number is 972-838-7600. Give me a phone call, send me a text. My Facebook page, it might be shadow banned because I speak a lot of truth on there and social media
Okay.
doesn't really like that, but you can look me up, Lorelei Schaefer.
Okay. All right. And I'll plug that in when I'm sharing this as well so people can easily access you. And I just want people to be aware of this because we're not, and we love instant gratification, and we're always plugged in, and we're always on screens and have all this, access. But down the road, well, we're seeing the impact now, but down the road, it could have some really drastic impact on us. So I think if there's things that we can still do to live our lives and be in our homes and use the technology we need, but remediate, as you mentioned, thank goodness that we know about you and the remediation that you bring to these EMFs that we're just surrounded by.
Yeah, well, you too. I give you a shout out for what you're doing. I met someone the other day. It was somebody who reached out to me and she was wanting me, she has a severe mold case. She's seeing Aaron. That's where she heard about me, but she knew about you from your podcast.
Okay,
And
well,
I was
that
like,
is
that is so
awesome.
amazing. Like people are out there searching, what can I do to heal mold? They want it. I mean, you can die from it. It's serious, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really do feel like if we hadn't figured it out, that I probably wouldn't be here today because every single system in my body was shutting down because it was just chaos because of the mycotoxins and nothing could function properly and it was just, multiplying. So I am so glad to know that this is reaching
It is.
people and that we're providing resources to get them to health. But I think really the biggest testament is, confirming this was mold because when I got out of the environment and I started detoxing, I got my life back. Now, I'm not 100%. And just through this conversation, I'm like, okay, there's some things that I can do to fine tune wellness and opportunities for maximizing health, such as EMF, and the remediation of our home in regards to EMFs. So we will share this, and I'm sure people will be getting in touch with you. I know one of my main treating physicians has had several patients come his way as a result of the news that we're sharing here on the I Mold You So podcast. So, Lorelei, thank you so much. And, we'll have to give an update once I get going with my band and everything and share
Yeah.
with the audience. But thank you again for sharing how you can help us calm the chaos.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much.
The I Mold You So podcast with Katie Buckland Weiss.